Hi everyone, and welcome to Life Creates Art. I am Shelly, and this is my co-host Diana. And you guys have all seen Diana before. She has helped me many times before. So we are doing sort of a art project / craft. And when COVID started and we all had to stay at home, locked in our homes, our Michaels here in the Bay Area in California closed down completely, meaning we didn't even have curbside service. We weren't even able to go and order and sit on the curb and wait for them to bring it out. It closed completely. So Home Depot became my craft store. And so my first project was actually, I started building a robot, and I'll show you a couple of pictures of my process of building a robot, which is not yet complete. It's got a refrigerator on it now that my husband keeps his Pepsis in, which is pretty cool. But robot is not completed yet, but we're working on that, and robot will be completed very soon. But next project was, I was walking around and all of these little projects were coming to mind. Of course, thinking about Christmas gifts and the fall coming along and what could I do, keep myself busy. And then I saw these wooden rounds that were already completed. And I thought I can do something with these, right? Yeah. And so I had this idea of making these wooden sort of things for the center of your table. What are they called? Lazy Susans for the center of your table. And also got little ideas for handles. Let me show you the one that I made. This is the one that I made. This is the second one that I've made, actually. This is the first one I made. The second one is in South Carolina right now. So I actually put, there are little rollers on the bottom, and I went through the painstaking, very patient process of putting all of these very detailed dots. And you can take a look at that. We'll show a close-up of this too in a picture. This process, and the reason that I'm going through this right now, even though the holidays are days and months and weeks away, the fall is coming up close, but this is a very, very long process, because if you go too fast with adding these dots, then you're looking at paint bubbling and all of that. So you have to be patient with this process of adding all of these dots. There are many, many layers of paint on top of one another, and so you have to be patient. And so I wanted you to see this and start this process now, and that way, if you wanted to start 2 or 3 at the same time, you can start it, and you can take your time doing it. Now the big one, so I have these small ones. The small ones are about 18 inches across, and the big one, though, is about 24 inches across. Now, with this one, what I am going to do is I'm going to probably do larger dots, and then go to much smaller ones. And then, of course, I varnish it at the end, which I'll show you all the supplies you'll need. Varnish it at the end, but I'm not going to put rollers on the bottom. I found these little packages, these 2 little packages. They were about $3.50 at Home Depot, and they're handles. They're just little handles, and they had screws already in them. And I'm going to put handles just right on the top, one here and one here. And that way, when I have a lot of family over, I can just lift this up, set it in the center of the table, filled with meats and fruits and cheeses And of course it'll have varnish on it, so I can put food on it, and it'll just be this big harvest of food and snacks and anything that I want. And so that's what I'm going to do with that one, with these handles that were about $3.50. Well, hello, Sheldon. Have you come to be in our video? So the supplies you will need for this are obviously the wood blocks. Now the wood blocks were about $6.50. Diana, if you can hold that one up, $6.50. Now, Diana started this morning and she sanded it, and then she put a base coat on this one. So this is a base coat, just a white paint. And then we decided to use this kind of dark blue. Now we didn't do the other side, the dark blue. We will, but we didn't do the other side of dark blue because we just kind of wanted to get the video started. So we're going to do the other side in dark blue, but we're going to do the top part in dark blue, and we're going to get the circles started for you, and we're going to show you how to do that. Now this one I did with a base of black. I originally started with black. The one that's in South Carolina, I did with a base of white, and I'll write to my daughter-in-law and see if I can get a photograph of that. But it's a base of white, so you can start with whatever color you want, and then build from there. Build your little dot bubbles from there. So we're going to get started here, and I'm going to show you how to mix the paint. It has to be the right consistency. If it's too thin, it'll wrinkle and bubble, and if it's too thick, you're not going to be able to set and build things on top of it. So you have to be really careful. It has to be just right. And we're going to get started with that right away. It's a really fun project, but again, you have to be patient. You have to take your time. You have to let all the paint dry in between before you put the next layer on top. It has to dry completely. Otherwise, you're going to have bubbling and wrinkling. Learn from my mistakes. And that's why I'm telling you that. So let's get started here. Okay, well, before we get started on getting started, let me go over what you need for this project. Obviously, you're going to need your wood rounds, and then you're going to need these little casters. These were at Home Depot for about $3.50. And then they don't come with any screws. So you're going to need about 1-inch screws. And I just bought these in a little package. And that's about right for the thickness of these wooden rounds, right? You call them rounds? Wooden rounds?
I don't know what they're called.
Wooden rounds. And just for screwing them in. Now, my husband usually screws in the base, but when he hasn't been around to do that, what I do is I use my sculpting tool to dig in a little hole for the screw. I just make sure that there's a hole prepared. Probably shouldn't do this, but I do it anyway. Dig in a little hole for the screw. I make sure that the screw is in there nice, and then I just hand do it myself. Now, I used to be a custom framer. I was a custom framing manager at Michael's for over a year, and so I know how to use a power tool, but usually it's not around, it's in the toolbox, and so I just do it by hand, and I know how to do that too. You will need some sandpaper to sandpaper the wood. It's usually pretty good, but sometimes you're going to need to sand a little bit. You're going to need some varnish. Now, I do not recommend spray varnish. I actually recommend that you get the paint on varnish. This is Art Minds. It's the high gloss varnish. I'm sure you can get varnish at Home Depot, but this is the stuff that I got, and I love it because I actually had sculptures that I did and I used a spray varnish and they were sticky. And so what I actually just did last week was I kind of touched up and repainted my sculptures, and then I used this varnish on them and they're not sticky anymore. So I won't take a chance on spray varnish anymore. So I love this varnish. Again, I have not used any of the varnishes from Home Depot, but I recommend a paint-on varnish. This is a high gloss, brilliant varnish from Art Minds. Again, the handles, they weren't in the handle section, but they were in the section that had all of the, like the things that open the gates and all of that kind of stuff. And then I got these two little things to squirt on your dots at Dollar Tree. The mustard and ketchup thing I got for 99 cents, obviously. This morning I could not find new ones, but that doesn't mean just because they didn't have them today, they won't have them tomorrow. But great find there. If you find them, get them. So I went next door to my grocery store and I was able to find these for $2.50, which I like these better actually because I can see what color paint is on the inside. The only little thing I had to do was, even though I like the little topper that keeps the paint in, I like this little topper, but when I am going to go down and put my dots on, it could compromise and hit the other dots. So I actually used a scissors and just cut that off. And so definitely have a rag handy, because when you are mixing your paint, you're going to want to plug and shake with a rag, because this is a very messy project, as all painting should be, because you want to get messy and have fun. That's what creativity is all about. It's about having fun and enjoying yourself, right? And so have some water nearby to mix your colors and just go for it and have a great time. So we're going to go ahead and get started again. All right, so I'm going to very quickly show you. I am using the Artist Loft, but I have used a high quality paint. I have used just the Craft Smart paint. You can use whatever you want. You just have to get it to a certain thickness. Now start with a little bit of paint, a little bit of water. Don't forget, not too much. The least water you can start out with, the better. Because then you'll have to add more paint. Now, I want more circles, so I may have to add more paint. But you don't want your paint so thick that it bubbles. Okay, so you want to have a certain amount of control. I can already see that I did not add enough water. Because I can't even get the paint to come down. So I need more paint and more water. Now, just keep in mind that this does take a lot of paint to do these circles. Ooh, that might have been a little too much water. Nah, don't worry. And I have found that sometimes I have mixed too much paint, and so I have ended up with little tiny Tupperwares, these little tiny Tupperwares full of extra paint that I haven't used, that I've been able to use for other projects. And I just squirt it in those little Tupperwares and use it for other projects. So this is actually quite perfect. So I'm able to turn my bottle and drop a droplet. You see how I'm able to do that? Now, what you want to do though is be able to spread it around too. You want to be able to do a small drop, and you want to be able to drop one and spread it around. It's actually quite perfect. Look at that. And then this will dry and it'll flatten out. So this is actually quite perfect. And then you see my white one is the same consistency. So let's do this on our round. Okay. So what you want to do, obviously, you don't want to paint yourself into a corner. So you start from the center and you just work your way out. And I would paint, do different sizes, keep your bottle at an angle so it doesn't pour out too quickly. You want bigger circles, paint bigger circles. Always put something I did not let you know. I'm going to stop right here. Always keep your, in this case, I have a thing of tape as kind of a base. And that way, whoopsie, look what happened. I have something to spin. So this just, because I tipped it, it ran a little. No big deal. You know that in art, when things happen, you just figure out a way to work it out. The great thing is, these are going to be dots that are going to be all over this round. See that bubble? Yeah, you don't want that. And so the great part is, this is totally fixable, totally doable. You can kind of run those together as if it's two dots. Try not to squeeze too hard. Just try to let the paint kind of run out on its own. One here, and let your creativity, this is where you let your creativity sort of come out. What you're going to be doing here is you're going to let these dry, and then you're going to mix another color. And on top of this, each one of these, you're going to add another color, and you're going to let that dry. And then you're going to add another color, and then you're going to add another color, and then another color. But between each one, it's vitally important. I can't stress that enough. Vitally important that you let each one dry. Because if you don't, it will bubble. It will start to peel. It has to dry in between. If you rush this process, then I guarantee you, you will have paint that will peel and bubble, and it's going to be messy. So don't rush the process. Just take its time. Let this dry. Give it a couple days. And just build dot upon dot, however many you want. On some of these, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 colors on top. So just take your time. I probably will fill this in, some of these spaces, with different colors, but I don't want to overlap too much. I'm going to let this dry first. And obviously I cannot finish this, but I can show you a finished product, which is the ones that I have done, and show you the process of how to get it started and what not to do. So I hope you have enjoyed this, and I hope you have fun with this. It is actually kind of a mesmerizing process. A lot of times I would put on music, kind of put on my headphones, and just start making circles. Now around the edges, one thing before I go, I want to show you around the edges. Diana, if you can just get over here, I would just make a little dot and just sort of let it run down. And I was okay with that. Just make it a little circle and let it run down on the table. And I'll do that with the blue too. Just let it run down. And I think that gives a really cool effect. And I would even build up. And I'll show you on the one that is made. Again, this was my first one, so you can see the process of what I did here and how I would carry it over the top some even and let it run down the side. So, okay, everybody. So Diana's gonna finish this up and start it. I'm gonna use a little tool just to pop a couple of bubbles, and if there's anything that gets in here or on here, if it splatters, anything like that, remember, you can always cover it with another little circle. This is a really fun project, and it covers a multitude of sins, and it's a whole lot of fun. Again, very relaxing. So just enjoy, put on some headphones and make your circles. But I will say it again, because the only reason I'm saying this again is because I have made the mistake of loving this so much and wanting to rush ahead. Don't rush ahead. Get this done. And is Sheldon chewing on something you're not supposed to? Sheldon, bad boy. Don't worry about it. So Sheldon's trying to get attention while we're doing the video. Don't rush ahead on this project. And that's why I'm telling you now, in, what month are we in? Have you guys lost track of time? Though you've been in this COVID thing? It's not even September yet, but the end of September, we leave, it's the end of August. We leave, we're leaving for St. Louis next week in September. So we've lost track of time anyway, but I hope you guys have fun and take your time doing this, because this is a great project, and I hope you have lots of gifts that you're able to give away because of this. This is a great, great gift to give away. My son and daughter-in-law loved it, and I think it's a great treasure that you can give away. So if you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to write below and ask me any questions that you want. All right? I will talk to you guys later, and have fun. And Diana and I say goodbye, and don't forget to check out the links below for our videos and our music videos, children's music videos, and our children's book, Agu and the Monkey. It's pretty awesome. And we love you guys and hope you all are doing well and thriving even in the midst of the storm. All right. Love you. Bye.